Since a few boys are dying to know, we're making a little short and fast video on the 42F where we got so far. I did about at least an hour to 2 hours hand pump sloshing to get a lot of the sludge out, and I've got a little portable solvent tank on the way that I can attach the tube that I had and do it electronically. It's got a lot to go. Hey, there's so much sludge. It's about a ½ inch thick in the bottom of that oil tank. And whatever's in that oil tank is also in that motor. And that oil line, I tried to loosen it on the feed line, and it's as frozen as the oil line that took me a month to get off on greening. So I'm hoping that I don't have to loosen those oil lines. So the plan of attack: get the sludge out of the oil tank. Follow. I'm going to get a roller, like a starter for a race bike, in here. But before I even pull the clutch apart or nothing, because I can kick the motor over, and put, I'm going to use diesel half and half with a light oil, and put that in the tranny, and put that in the oil tank, and put this bike on a roller, and let that flush around and around and around. And we'll do a few flushings like that and try to get all the sludge out of the motor and out of the transmission. So we're not going to start it, we're just going to heat the motor up with a pad. I did a few hours the other day. You can see the oil drippings that came off here. That's all oil dripping from the heat I had. So we want to heat it a few more times, slush it a few more times, until I seem to get fairly clear and clean. Without, the whole concept is, can I do a minimum to this machine pulling it apart and get it running at least for a period of time? Because I certainly have way too many projects to pull this bike all the way down. So that little sound over there is CT in the solvent tank with mineral spirits. So we're going to pull the seat post out, because it'll wear everything out really bad. It's super dry. Clean that up, and I'm going to go over every little electrical connection and clean it. And I'm sure I'll have to pop the end of the distributor off and clean that sort of thing. Go through the clutch, put a seal in the transmission, go through the wheels, because I have no idea how dry they are or not. I can inspect the brakes, put chain on as needed, go through the clutch, and I'd be amazed if I don't have to go through the carburetor. But we're going to try and fire it before we decide to rebuild the carburetor. And because I want to, before I yank half the bike apart, like I don't have enough bike problems like that around here, I want to hear it go ka-chuff, ka-chuff. So when we attempt to fire it, that'll be long before I get those tanks done. I'm just going to stick another tank on here and some gas and try and fire the bike up. So I just want to hear it run and go, okay, it's going to run. I don't hear a rod knock. And then we'll proceed. The idea here is to have this bike running at Dixon. But, you know, I mean, just because it kicks over, it's a knucklehead, it doesn't have very much compression. You're not going to necessarily feel a rod knock. So, you know, Speedo was broken. My man Stan's got the Speedo for loving care. I told him Dixon's the plan. And in the process of this, after I hear it go, okay, woo, run, when I get the ass end off, that's when I pull all the little crash bar stuff off the ass end. When I pull the clutch off and all that, I'll pull the front crash bar off, and I'm going to clean it up as much as I can and stick it all back on, just so it's a little prettier. If I can get the wheels a little cleaner with my special stuff, we will before we put them back on, and just clean it up and try to leave it essentially like it is, and have a running bike for as long as it'll go down the road before we have to pull it all the way down. That is the plan. Best plans of mice and men, yes? So that's the update. And on this, I'm going to go back over to the 38 here. I pulled the clutch apart And I discovered that Palmer's isn't quite all-knowing on these clutches. I've never had one apart. This clutch here, I assume, is the very late one in the adjustment itself. So I discovered there's these two nuts. I've never had an early clutch apart, so this is a discovery. Here, this is your adjustment. And there's a plate here, and it adjusts out, and bam. So we're going to clean all that up in the magic goo. The plates look beautiful. It wasn't slipping or nothing, but it's like, when was it serviced last? So, and of course it was full of oil and everything else from the tranny. And so we're going to pull all this off here, and to get a proper seal, I got to pull that shaft out, which is somehow frozen onto the throwout bearing, which means pulling the kicker cover and so forth. But I mean, I put oil in this tranny, it's on the floor, just like that, bam. So I'm going to pull that out. I'll be amazed if I don't end up pulling this transmission apart. Probably will. The oil from the oil tank, the second you stop running it, it immediately goes to the oil pump in the lower end, all over the floor. Just that fast. So the oil pump's got to come apart. Got to at least do that. And I don't know if I have enough time or not, because I have to pay bills. But ideally, if I really get cooking, I just might have this one running for Dixon too. But 42F's the priority. I want to at least have a bike. So that's the update on the 38, where that's at right now. And as I do more, I will keep everybody informed. Okay? See you guys in the next videos.